Hi. I would say good morning, but I'm going to post this one tonight. That way you have time to look at it. Chapter 18, Touching Spirit Bearer, page 147. We're definitely in falling action. I know that some of you have a different opinion about that, but the way that chapter 17 went and the way that chapter 18 is going, I can tell that we're in falling action. So now I'm thinking about what things have to happen before we get to the end of the book. And remember, at the end of the book, we're going to be looking for theme, the thought, the idea, or the lesson to be learned from the book. And we also have to have a couple things happen for Cole to be able to become a round character. He needs to have some ways to control his anger and not let that rise up in him, so he's not focusing on the left end of the stick, but he's focusing on the right instead. And he needs to repair his situation with Peter, because that's really what this is about. And then hopefully that will also happen with his father. No guarantees on that one, though. By the time Cole and Edwin returned to camp, Garvey was up and had a fire burning. He sat on the stump of driftwood, sipping coffee and looking out over the bay. As they approached, he turned and pointed. "Look at the whales out there breaching." Breaching means that they're breaking the surface of the water. Edwin nodded. "Those are the humpbacks after herring." Herring's a type of fish. "And they're following their instincts. Every spring they migrate up from calving grounds in Hawaii." "I've never seen whales before," Cole said, "except on TV." "We'll dance the whale dance tonight," Edwin said. So, what do you think the whale dance is, and what do you think its purpose is? Number one. "Is anybody hungry?" Cole said, lowering a cooler from a tree. He dug through the food for a box of cold cereal, retrieved a jug of water, and then mixed in some powdered milk and began to eat. Obviously, he didn't learn. Edwin eyed Cole, wolfing down the cereal. "You might want something more than cold cereal to work on." "That's all I usually eat for breakfast. If you guys want something different, fix it yourself." What does that show evidence of? If you guys want something different, fix it yourself. Edwin and Garvey both helped themselves to a bowl of cereal. "Suit yourself, you're the one working, champ," Garvey said. "Aren't you helping at all?" "We'll show you what to do," said Edwin, "but every ounce of work is going to be yours." "But I can't nail with my bad arm." "Then learn to use the other arm," Edwin said. "If you build the cabin well, you'll still stay dry and comfortable. Build it poorly and," Edwin shrugged, "it'll be a long winter. I built the last shelter for you, and I built it well. I still feel hurt from what you did. If you burn this cabin, you hurt only yourself." Edwin handed Cole a pair of leather gloves. "Here, these will keep you from getting blisters." "I might have a bum arm, but I'm not a wimp," Cole said, setting the gloves aside. "Your choice," said Edwin, as he began showing Cole how to lay out the frame for the cabin. By mid-morning, Cole had connected 4 squared beams and set large rocks that served as a foundation. He nailed planks onto the square frame. These he covered with plywood flooring, making a large rectangular platform roughly the size of his room at home. Each nail he drove in took about 10 swings using his left hand, but gradually his swings got better. As he worked, his stomach growled for food, but he wouldn't admit he was hungry. Not in front of Edwin and Garvey. The two sat around the fire, watching and offering suggestions. Everything had to be just right. The sun was almost overhead when Cole finally had to stop for lunch. He was starved, and he felt half dead as he built up the fire and dug out spaghetti noodles and a can of sauce. He put them into a pan, which he balanced on a rock in the fire. "How come everything has to be tight and exact on the cabin?" he asked. "I'm not living here my whole life." "About 10,000 mice are hoping you build it loose," Garvey said. Edwin motioned to the north. "When the first winter storm comes with 50-mile-an-hour winds, you'll know why." After their meal, Garvey showed Cole how to lay out wall panels on the ground. By now, big blisters had formed on Cole's hands, and with a sheepish grin at Edwin, he pulled out the leather gloves. "Go ahead, say I told you so," Cole said. "Pride has no place on this island," Edwin answered. What does the line "Pride has no place on this island" mean? That one's a tough one. I think you're going to have to think about it pretty deeply. Pride has no place on the island. By late that evening, when Garby suggested he stop work for the day, Cole's hunger again gnawed at his belly. "How about some more cold cereal?" Garby said. "Real funny," Cole said, pulling out hamburger from the cooler. "Some of us have been working." The smile on Garby's face irritated Cole as he pulled the gloves off his sore and blistered hands. So we have a couple pieces of evidence of Cole not being exactly on the right path. Frustration, anger, irritation. As he pulled off the gloves, his sore and blistered hands, he examined his work. All 4 panels lay ready to be lifted into place. There was a space for a door and one small window facing out towards the bay. It still bugged Cole that Edwin and Garby wouldn't help with anything. He made up 3 hamburgers, but deliberately only put 1 in the pan to cook. Edwin and Garby watched him as he ate his burger. When Cole finished, he yawned. "I'm beat," he said. "There's hamburger if you guys want some. I'm going to bed." Uh-oh. Not a good move, Cole. "You'll cook for everyone," Edwin said, "and then we all dance." "Do you need your shoelaces tied too?" Cole mumbled as he returned to the fire and began cooking again. "Make us a feast," Garby said, "not just food." So what is Garby saying there at the end too? Make us a feast, not just a meal. And I guess, what are you thinking about Cole's attitude as we are moving into this chapter? That's the place where I'm going to stop. Make sure that you have well thought out responses to the questions. Pre-read the chapter, take notes. You can also send me a question that you have to my email. And if you have some good questions, then I might use them in class today. See you at 11.